Bull riding is just damn.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily podcast on fantasy basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball. Today it's another draft. It's not quite a mock draft because we are going to actually be playing this league out. Last week we did an auction draft for head-to-head. We did a snake draft for points leagues. Today we're doing a deeper league. It's a rotisserie league, an 8-category league with 20 teams we're going to be looking at today. Michael Bolton, I don't know if he's one of the 20 participants, but he is ready to go.
Let's get to it.
Mr. Bolton, he's ready to go. There is news, obviously, in the NBA, more stuff with Jimmy Butler, but nothing has come through yet. Of course, when that information breaks, we'll have all the projections updated immediately over on Basketball Monster and all the news brought to you here on this podcast. A bit of a heads up for what's happening this week. Tomorrow's show is going to be a mailbag show. I'm going to go live on YouTube. I'll tweet that link out, but make sure you're jumping in and asking questions there. We're going to do a snake head-to-head draft categories league as well during the week. We're going to do an episode discussing punting also, and then we're going to do season win total over-unders with Greg Ehrenberg later in the week as well. So that's a wrap-up for this coming week on the Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast. But it is time for me to tell you about our new sponsor of the show, and that is, of course, Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats is an online event ticket marketplace which is dedicated to providing fans of live entertainment with an experience that lasts a lifetime. You love going to sporting events, concerts, musicals, plays, theatre, whatever it is, Vivid Seats will have you covered. Vivid Seats helps fans find their seats to any of the favourite live events, including sports, concerts, and theatre. And listeners to this podcast can use my special promo code, which is Locked On, all one word, receiving $20 off orders of $200 or more if they are a first-time customer of Vivid Seats. You can download the app through the App Store, through Google Play, and make sure you're entering that promo code, which is Locked On, to receive $20 off any order of $200 or more. Every purchase is backed with a 100% buyer guarantee. The biggest concerts and games, the hottest theatre and more. Vivid Seats has it all. Download the app, enter the promo code Locked On, save yourself $20 on an order of $200 or more as a new customer. Make a memory that lasts a lifetime and let Vivid Seats help you get to your favorite live event. All right, so this draft we're going to be doing, I'm going to be broadcasting it. It's a Roto draft with Basketball Monster members. Kyle McKeown is in this draft as well. I'm picking at pick number 3, so I really, really like that spot. I'll be taking Karl Anthony Towns, assuming Davis and Harden go with pick number 1 and 2. And if they don't, then whichever one of those two falls to number 3 is the guy that I'll be taking. But in a 20-team league, it's extra important that I'm really looking to lock down some categories that are hard to get. Like if I don't get blocks, it's going to be pretty bloody tough in a 20-team league. Percentages, I've got to really make sure here. Now, we're only having 5 starters and 5 bench players. So it's a 200 rostered league with 20 teams. So the talent's going to be spread pretty thin. It is, the margin for error is pretty low in a league like this. But we're talking rotisserie here. And I'll talk some rotisserie strategy as we go through as well. Some things that I've changed my opinion on marginally as well with Roto leagues, but we'll see exactly how that all pans out in today's show. We're back. Ready to kick this draft off. Just as starting to record this show at the moment, there's all these whispers going around of Miami being really close to being the favorite in a Jimmy Butler trade, with potentially Whiteside and Richardson maybe going back to Minnesota, Gorgie Jeng moving on. So that's something I'm going to keep an eye on as we're recording this show, just to see if anything does happen with Butler there. But initially we were hearing that the Clippers were favourite in that situation, but I'm getting a lot of whispers or a lot of inklings that it seems that Miami is making a push here for Jim Butler. So we'll see exactly how that, of course, all goes down. I'll switch you over, if you are watching the video now, to the draft screen there. We're doing this draft on ESPN, so you can see how all that's going with the draft there. I'm in pick 3. We're 20 seconds away from the start. I'm hoping that I can get Karl Anthony Towns with this pick. I'm hoping I can get Anthony Davis with this pick, but I don't think that's going to be the case. What you'll see me using the draft tracker for Basketball Monster, or at least showing how it works. I did a video on that the other day as I go through, and you have to go to the pick history tab over there and select the players and copy and paste it because of the way ESPN dicked around with their settings. The auto import function doesn't work because of, again, how they changed their settings over on Basketball Monster, ESPN. Oh, I'm off. Where the draft has started. Didn't even realize we had kicked this off. So we've got Davis and Harden that have gone already. So this is going to be me taking Karl Anthony Towns. Let's go. I got him at number 3. I think that obviously is going to help when Jimmy Butler's traded, and it's guaranteed. I think that Jimmy Butler is going to be traded by the Timberwolves. I didn't even see how those picks went. Davis 1, Harden 2, Towns 3. So that's good to see. We're at number 4 now. That's Roberts. I think that's Mark Roberts. There, we'll see how he goes in that in that spot at pick 4. I think you have to take. Do you take Giannis? You probably do. Maybe you take Durant. Nick Jokic is another option. Looking for big men with the depth issues with the big men there as well. So we're looking for Mark to make his pick with 16 seconds left back on the clock, and he did go with Giannis Antetokounmpo in that spot. I've got a long wait until we get back around to my pick, of course. Let's see where we go. Who is up now? Rice and Vasquez. I think that's Mikey. I think his name's Mikey, but apologize if it isn't. He is at pick 5. Kevin Durant off the board at pick 5. That's fine. That's the pick that I think you need to make there in that spot. Now I'd be looking at Jokic next, and Jokic does go next to Team Can. My French is a bit rusty. Joyo Noel at pick 7 is ready to kick things off. We'll see how he goes. Now, I think out of these guys left, Steph or Kawhi are the 2 guys. I think there's a clear top 8 to me, and they're the 2 guys left there. Curry goes at 7. Team Trice here at pick 8. Kawhi Leonard is the player I'll be taking. ESPN's got him ranked at 12th. ESPN's rankings are all over the place. They have adjusted them and somehow made them worse. I don't know how that's possible. They've put Kyle Lowry up to number 11. If anyone can understand that, they've got Kyle Lowry. This is how ridiculous the stuff is that happens on ESPN. They do their rankings. I don't think they've got anything to do with projections, because that doesn't even make sense. And then they project Kyle Lowry to shoot 57% from the field and 97% from the free throw line. I will 100% guarantee you that will not happen. They also have, I believe, Tyler Ulis projected to get, I think, 2 blocks per game. I could be wrong on that. Let's bring up the Ulis projections because I know it's funny. Who just got signed by Golden State, by the way. They're projecting him for 27 minutes a game, a field goal percentage of 59 with 6 rebounds and 1.6 blocks with only 8 points with an ADP of 984. Nothing makes sense at all with these projections and these rankings. Kyle Lowry at 11, if you're in an ESPN draft and you're auto-drafting, you're going to be stuck with Lowry and you're going to be disappointed. It makes no sense to have him behind Kawhi Leonard or even the other guys that come after him. DeRozan at 16, what is going on there? Embiid down to 18. Just some nonsense selections. Westbrook goes at 9 here in a Roto League ahead of Kawhi. That's not the move that I would have made. Leonard goes at 10. I think the technology tax man has a really good option, or it's a really good value to get Kawhi there at pick number 10. So he should be pretty happy with how all that works out. But again, it's just some baffling projections with these ESPN rankings. It just makes no sense. I think Lillard should be the guy who goes next here, by the way, at pick number 11. That would be the direction that I would be looking at in this part of the draft. I'm going to go ahead and do the import, which is what you do on the for the draft tracker. Let's go and import that over onto Basketball Monster so I can see what's going on with the Track the League that way. So Lillard goes at pick 11. That's the correct pick. Now is where things start to get interesting. Do you take Benny Simmons? Do you take Joel Embiid? I'd probably take Joel Embiid here in this spot. That'd be what I'd be looking at in this selection. Again, the big men can be quite difficult to get. Jim Butler, Paul George, they're all the guys who I believe are in this mix at the moment. Stephen Kahn saying, I can't wait for someone to auto-draft later. It's ridiculous. What are these drafts? Paul George is ranked at 27th. Ridiculous. Kyrie at 28. You can make a case that maybe that's not so ridiculous. I would. Oladipo at 20. Yeah, should be higher than that. These rankings make no sense. Why is Devin Booker at 34 and Lou Williams at 35? I don't agree with that. Why is Goran Dragic at 37? Who is doing this? What are these numbers? Nothing makes sense here. Dwight Howard at 39, Julius Randle at 41. Come on. There's nothing that makes sense with some of these numbers. It just doesn't. Harrison Barnes at 53. Good luck. I see that the DPRK Rockets are on auto draft because they got Kyle Lowry at 12. Congratulations. Joel Embiid, Kyle takes him at 13. That's the one that you want. Yeah, Andrew Wiggins at 58. I'm just going through these ESPN rankings and telling you how dumb they are. Well, what is happening with these picks? Alfred Payton at 66, De'Aaron Fox at 67, Cauley Stein at 68, Kuzma at 69.
Giggity!
Otto Porter at 73 and Trey Burke at 74. Reggie Jackson 75. Jordan Clarkson is 78 and TJ Warren is 79. All right, there's a legitimate chance TJ Warren's not even in the rotation in Phoenix. Probably low, but there's a chance. There's nothing here that makes any sense. What? DJ Augustin at 90? Huh? Gary Harris at 94? Dwight Powell at 97. Dwight Powell at 97. What on earth is going on? Let's go back to this draft. John Wall, pick 14. Jim Butler, 15. Why is Paul George still on the board? Whoever's picking next, which is Pittsburgh, you need to take Paul George in this spot. I'm just going through these picks, these rankings, and just hanging shit on whoever did them. Ben Simmons off the board at 16. Paul George is still around somehow. Oladipo at 17. There is some real steals here. JR is on the clock at 18. You have to take Paul George. You have to. Thank you. Shirtless JR takes Paul George there at pick 18. Some real value happening in these last areas of the draft. We're almost done with round one with Jim Harris on the board here at pick number 19. Let's see which direction he goes in this spot. And again, only 5 starters in this league. 5 bench players. You don't even have to have a designated center, which is good in a league this deep. Kyle made it so it's a forward/center spot. Kyle throwing in here. Victor Oladipo is getting some hype the last couple of days. Can he get even better? He can, but where is he going to get better? Is his usage going to spike even further? I have my doubts. Will his assists go up? That's a possibility for him. Will his defensive numbers go up? I think that's almost impossible. So I on the other side of it, he might be, look, he's getting better, he's improved, muscle watch, all that sort of bullshit. But I think there's a chance he goes backwards. If those steal and block numbers, which doubled from his time in Oklahoma City and was sky high, if they come down 20%, 10%, then it's a 5-10 spot drop in rankings potentially. And if anything else goes off, then I think it's risky to think he goes much higher. And I love Oladipo as a player. I don't really see him getting too much better than what he was last season. All right, Devin Booker rounds out. Chris Paul at 19, Devin Booker at pick 20. And whoa. What just happened there? Someone just took Trevor Booker at pick 21. That's, that doesn't sound right. Well, no, it doesn't sound right. That is clearly not right. So the old back-to-back Booker picks with Devin Booker at 20 and Trevor Booker at 21. Kyle is pausing that because it's clearly not the correct pick. Wow. Trevor Booker actually playing in China this season, for those of you who aren't aware, where Kyle's going to be rolling that back, I'm guessing, as he has paused the draft. But thank you, Kyle. That's clearly a misclick there. The person obviously searched up Booker, clicked draft, and then the only person left in that list was Trevor Booker, and they clicked draft again. So we're rolling back now to that pick 21. Let's see how it all goes. Now, who should you be taking in this selection spot? Kevin Love, I think, is the guy you want to take at 21. Kyrie, Drew, Don Mitchell, they're probably your best options in this spot. But Love is the guy that you want at pick 21. That's the pick that I think that you should be making in that spot. He went with Gobert instead, so that's interesting. Gobert can have that negative free throw impact, definitely. Pairing him with Devin Booker, it does offset this. And it's something I do want to talk about in this draft is I drafted DeAndre Jordan in a Roto league the other day. Matt Smith, who is famously anti-punting, drafted Dwight Howard. And I did it because my free throw percentage was like 86% in that league. And I drafted DeAndre, because I wanted rebounds and I wanted field goal percentage. And it did drop my free throws down from like 86 to 82. That's still strong, but I was nowhere near the worst in the league. But it bumped me up in those other categories enough. So while I'm like, don't punt. Yeah, in Roto, and these guys potentially non-draftable guys. In certain situations, you have to look at them when the value is there. And again, if you're a team with the 7th best free throw percentage and you draft them, that makes you the worst. That's probably not value. Even if it's a pick 100, it still is dropping your free throw percentage that much. But if you are sitting on top of free throw percentage by 3 percentage points, and you can go from, say 16 points in that category down to 12 points in that category, losing 4 points, it's a big amount. But what if you gain 6 in field goal percentage? What if you gain 5 in rebounds? What if you gain 3 in blocks? Overall, it's a win for you. And that's the way I approach getting DeAndre Jordan in that other league. That's the way Matt Smith approached getting Dwight Howard. So we'll see how that works out. Andre Drummond, obviously a team punting here. He goes off the board. Drew Holiday. So the start of round 2, we've got Gobert, Kevin Love, Drew Holiday, and Andre Drummond. And make no mistake, Drummond did improve his free throw percentage, but he's not a guy that you don't have to pay attention to in that category. It's still an issue. The Donovan Mitchell goes at pick 5 in round 2, and then LaMarcus Aldridge goes at pick 6. I think there's some solid options there for both of those guys. Kyle is going to be on the clock in a second. The meanies are on the board here. Which players should we be looking at in this area? Let's have a look. Just do my Control A, go add it over to my draft tracker, see how it all works out over there. Pretty happy with how my team looks at the moment with Karl Anthony Towns on board at this stage. Meanies, letting the clock run down here. Again, I told you I am going to be doing a snake draft later in the weekend. I will put out the information in a day or so of how you can be a part of that draft. DeMar DeRozan goes next, followed by Kyrie Irving. I think that's too high for DeRozan personally. I don't expect him to take big steps forward this season. It's not a horrible pick 27, but I think he's more in the 40s to 50 zone rather than the top 30. Again, that would be expecting him to take a significant leap forward on what he did last season, but I don't necessarily think that he's going to do that. Kyrie Irving goes off the board to McKeown there at pick 28. That's really good value. I'm not worried about Kyrie's knee injury. I think he's fine. He won't have back-to-back restrictions. He won't have minutes restrictions. I think that, look, he could get injured at any time, and he is probably more prone to that than other players, but I'm not worried about an injury heading into the season, so I'm good with him. We've got a few players left here in this next section. I think we're looking at Bledsoe, Beal, Middleton, Kemba. They're probably your next group. I think CJ McCollum is probably a little bit overrated in this area. Clint Capella, wow, that's aggressive in a Roto league. But again, getting the blocks, maybe it is important to get those blocks, to get those big man numbers, and sacrificing a bit with free throw percentage. And the deeper a league gets, the more teams there are, the more possible it is for you to punt, because you've got a larger gap in points ranges. Instead of going from 1 to 12 in each category, you go from 1 to 20. And as long as you're not sitting down at number 1, that's fine. You don't need to be getting 18 points per category to win a Roto league with this many teams around. Still waiting for my pick to come around here. Team Argue is coming up there. Still waiting for his pick. He's got 15 seconds on the clock. It's going to be a tough struggle for me here to get a solid player with these next couple of picks. Again, we're only looking at 5 starters though, and in a Roto league with games limits, your bench is more just a lot of upside play. So maybe I get 1 or 2 solid bench guys and the rest just upside guys. Chrissy Middleton there goes at pick number 30. That's fine. I think Kyle must be swearing because he's written these ESPN rankings are lots of emojis. Do I have that setting on where I can't see swearing? That's shit house. Where's my option to change that? I want swearing. Come on, Kyle. What's going on here? What are all these figures? How do I change this bullshit? ESPN, you're dicking me. Who is on the clock? The Taxman. Oh, actually, Middleton's gone. I mentioned that one. Who is up? Come on, Taxman. Kemba Walker goes at 31. Brad Beal at 32. Yeah, absolutely fine. Love both those picks. I think they're really, really strong in that area. Eric Bledsoe's still around because he is pushed down the rankings, I believe, on ESPN. Yeah, at 56. Absolutely no reason for that. He's getting shoved into my queue because he is the guy that I want now. I get the feeling that some of these other guys, and most of these guys, are basketball monster members. I think they nearly all are. So some of them are going to be grabbing Bledsoe here. But Toby Harris goes at 33. I'm 5 picks away from potentially sneaking in Eric Bledsoe at pick 38. I'd be pretty happy with getting him there. Kyle, not impressed with the inability to swear in the chat room, which is fair enough. I'm not really all that impressed with that inability either. I'd like to see Kyle losing his shit. Eric Bledsoe off there. Okay, I have to reassess what I'm doing. 4 picks to go until it is my turn to pick. Let's see which guys I'm going to be looking at in this area. Okay, Draymond off the board at pick 35. 3 to go for me. DeAndre Ayton. Yeesh, that's it's early, but I understand it at 36. Again, getting centers now. Marky Roberts is on at 37. That gives me 2 picks to go. I'm looking at Gasol, Conley, Ayton, Vucevic, Gordie Hayward, the Blue Arrow. So yeah, I'm in a bit of trouble here. CJ McCollum off the board. I don't want Marc Gasol because he's only center eligible. Do I roll that dice on Mike Conley? I've got him in so many bloody leagues. I do need some assists. I do need some steals. Yeah, all right. Let's go with Mick. Yep. Okay. I'm putting a lot of my eggs in the Mike Conley basket at this point. So we'll see how that works out for me. Adrian Boloki is not impressed that I took Mike Conley again. It is risky, and I understand that, but I think he's got top 30 upside. I need some of these players here. Revival on the clock here at pick 39. So CJ McCollum went to Roberts at 37. I got Conley at 38. I think the Blue Arrow would be an interesting guy for me here. My team is still, it's pretty solid on the big man numbers. I'm going to need some blocks though with another player pretty soon to remain competitive in that area. I have to look at that next. Marc Gasol goes at 39, and there's 3 picks until I'm back on the clock again. So let's have a look at which sort of guys I'm going to be looking at here. Boloki, you can take your time while I just work out exactly what I'm doing here with this spot. Okay. All right, I've got Townsy. I've got Conley. I need some steals. I need some blocks. Who's available for me here that I want to have a look at? Do I take someone like the artist formerly known as Torian Prince? Do I take the Baptist John Collins to get some of those big man numbers and get assists later on? I think I might go with the Baptist here personally. Gordie Hayward off the board at pick 40. The Blue Arrow is definitely an option for me as well. I'm pretty strong with my free throw percentage, and that's really one of Murray's big strengths. So I think I'm going to be going with the Baptist at this spot. Might as well stay on brand. Let's put him in the queue. Who is next up there? Blakey Griffin's an option there too. Probably won't be going that direction. And then it's quite a while until I am on the clock. Boloki just really taking his time with this second pick. Come on, Adrian, let's go. Or Adrian, because you've got the accent on the A. The Blue Arrow goes there at pick 41. Strong. Yeah, that's really solid. We know what Jamal can do. I want to get myself a forward here with the Baptist Johnny Collins, assuming this Revival guy does not take him. And I really get the feeling he's going to take him, and it's going to really, really, really piss in my coffee if he does that. Oh, you bastard. Oh, all right, let's reassess what I'm doing here. Okay, so. Do I take Prince? That is the option for me here, I think. Do I take Enes Kanter? Probably not. I do need some steals. Do I take Chrissy Dunn in this spot? Yeah, you know what? Let's take Chris Dunn. I'm okay with that. Get my steals numbers up. Oh, am I okay with it? I don't even know. Do I take Vucevic? I'm worried about his production later in the season. Let's take Dunny. All right, that is 2 point guards done. I'm going to get forwards with my next couple of picks. That pissed me off because I really wanted the Baptist there in that slot, but unfortunately, my man Revival is on the board. Rip City Revival. Shout out to you. I'm going to guess that's Ryan. Is that you, Ryan? If you listen to this podcast, you can let me know. I'm pretty sure it is. Otto Porter goes to Marky F. Roberts at the pick after me, which was pick 44. Mikey Rice and Vasquez on here at 45. This is a shit area of the rankings here. DeAndre Jordan, Lou Williams, Goran Dragic, Dwight Howard, Julius Randle, those top 5 guys. You don't want any part of those guys, I don't think, at this spot. Ravishing Rick Rubio. He goes at pick 45. I think it's probably a little bit high for Richard. Other guys that I would want there. I think Enes Kanter's got real value in this sort of a format. We know what he does, high percentages, rebounds, scoring, and it'll be pretty high early in the season. Interesting development in Dallas with Luka Doncic being mentioned as the starting power forward. I'm not really, just quickly, Adrian Wojnarowski. So far, Pat Riley and Miami have been as aggressive as any team in a pursuit of a Jimmy Butler trade with Minnesota, league sources tell ESPN. Ownership still prefers to find a deal by early this week, sources said. That is exactly what I was saying. It's definitely something coming out here with getting Jimmy Butler to Miami. It is definitely the way I can see it happening. Klay Thompson goes there at pick 46. I'm just not in on Klay this season from a fantasy point of view. I think he is getting overdrafted. But then, at 46, it's not a bad one. Joyo Noel at 47 for Jarrett Allen. Miles Turner goes at 48. And DeAndre Jordan at 49. I think that team Ravanas, that's ugly. That's the team, I believe, that, let's have a look, that has... Oh, no, that was the one I thought that had Lowry on autodraft. Westbrook, Beal, and Jordan. No, that's not too bad then. That's fine. So it's interesting. I think there is going to be some stuff go down here in the next, I'd say give it 2 days, I reckon, until Jim Butler is gone. And again, it is looking like Miami at the moment. There's going to be some trades definitely going down in these next couple of days, and some interesting ones. I think Phoenix is going to be involved. I think obviously Butler is moving. I think there is going to be some weird shit going down just on the eve of training camp starting. In fact, media days already happened at many NBA teams. Al Horford there at pick number 50. I think that's fine for him. There's probably other guys on the board that I'd like, but 50 is not bad for Big Al. Nick Vucevic at 51. I don't think you can let him pass too much further there, despite some of the doubts about his role. Now, if I get an opportunity to get Blakey Griffin here on the way back, which I'm 26 picks away, it's not going to happen. I don't even know what I'm talking about it. Valanciunas would be interesting for me, but I don't need a center. Let's see. Why are there so many people leaving and joining this draft? What's going on with everyone? Justin Weinberg in particular keeps leaving and joining. I don't know why that keeps happening. Maybe it's the mobile app. As Lucas Teff says, the mobile app is really shitty. Cool. I'm not on the mobile app, but I'd believe that. Honestly, guys, you should be hosting your drafts on Fantrax. ESPN has this bullshit that they have with their terrible rankings. Yahoo is so restrictive with the stuff that they don't even let you do. Like, if you go to pause a draft on Yahoo, you can't even restart it when you want. You have to pause it for a set amount of time, and then you can't just... It is just... Why are there so few options? Anyway, Luka Doncic goes to the DPRK Rockets. So shout out to you, Rocket Man, for getting Luka. Again, Luka at power forward, he's going to have an excellent season. He's got a massive chance to be top 50. He's the clear rookie, number one rookie in Dynasty Leagues to me. Not the guy that I take necessarily first this year. You all know that I would take DeAndre Ayton first this season for just this season's productions. Kyle goes with the hometown man, Blakey Griffin, as Gordon goes there at 44 as well. So some interesting picks coming off the board there. I'm going to go and do a draft tracker update, see how this all looks in terms of how my team projects out. I'm currently looking pretty okay at the moment. Projected third at the moment, which would make sense given my team had the third pick. There's some interesting stuff on my team, though. I do need... I'm a bit down on blocks. I need some more threes. My field goal percentage could do with a bit of work after getting Dunn and Conley, who are pretty negative there. But Towns gave me a pretty strong buffer to start that area off. Where are we here? Jonas Valanciunas at 45. Lonzo Ball at 46. JV at 45, you're desperate for a center. He's a good roto center, but it feels high. A basketball analogy takes the iron shoulder. Goran Dragic there at pick 57. I think that's probably 40 spots too high for Dragic personally. So that's not the direction that I'd want to be going in. It's just, not what I'm in. I'm interested to see who takes the pencil Harrison Barnes here, because he is ranked real high. This is the spot that Jason Tatum should be coming off the board. I don't have too much of a problem with Julius Randle coming off the board here as well. We've got Shirtless JR on the clock to get us close to rounding out the end of round 3, which is getting us up to pick number 60. So we'll see how this all goes down. Come on, Shirtless JR. Let's make some picks, boy. Trae Young, Dennis Smith on the board there. Larry Markkanen's a one I think that I'd like. I'm going to throw him in my queue. I don't think he's going to make it to me, but he's a guy I'd like to look at there. I worry about how much the Bulls are going to dick him around in terms of role. Gaz Harris off the board. What is Gaz Harris still doing there at 58? That is really good value from you, Shirtless JR. Really, really strong. Nice, Gary! James Harris on the board now. Probably no relation. We'll see how he can work things out for his team. And then we've got Bembry. Probably not DeAndre, but you never know. Maybe another relative throwing their pick in. Now, I've got 2 starting spots to fill out. I've got Dunn Conley and Karl Anthony Towns in my team. Need to get a couple more going into that spot. I just can't believe some of these rankings. There's just... And I'm not saying that everything that I do is perfect, because it's clearly not. But when you're projecting Kyle Lowry to shoot 57% from the field and 97% from the free throw line, then you don't know what you're doing. So it's as simple as that. Kyle Anderson off the board at pick number 59. Strong, really good roto play. Get those steals. The scoring's an issue. We know that, and his efficiency does probably drop this season, but I reckon he could see more minutes, more assists even, as he does run some of the offense for Memphis. So he's an interesting guy for this coming season. You've heard me talk about him quite a bit. Be interesting to see where people take Porzingis and DeMarcus Cousins. As soon as I get through my starting spots, they're going to be in my queue, and I'm going to have an opportunity to grab them. So we'll see how that works out. Bembry on the clock here to round out round number 3. He's got pick number 60. Don't know which guy. Who did he pick there? He chose Lou Williams at pick number 60, and I don't think that's a bad. I don't think that's a bad move to get Lou Williams at pick number 60, especially to get some of that scoring and free throw percentage that he does bring you. So there is some sort of value there with him there. Taurean Prince is the guy that I do really want. He just went. Taurean Prince there at 61. Jeff Teague at 62.
My name is Jeff.
I'm 15 picks away. Joshie Richardson still on the board. His value is very much in flux with these trade rumors going around. I really, really feel strongly about Nick Batum, Tyreek Evans, Jason Tatum, Lauri Markkanen. These are the bunch of guys that I am looking at for my coming pick, which is still, as I said, 15 away. Shirtless JR on the board, looking to make... Let's see, how do these standings look here? Where they got me? 13th. All right, it's whoever's got Kyle Lowry is probably projected at the top. Which spot are we looking at here? Shirtless JR, just letting the clock really run down. Trae Young is going to be an interesting pick. I think a lot of people will let him slide, but he is ranked pretty high. Enes Kanter, strong pick there from Shirtless JR at pick 64 or 63. Brandon Ingram at 64. Basketball analogy, I don't like that. That feels like it's really, really at his absolute ceiling. And I don't want to draft unproven guys, which is what he is, at his ceiling. He's never reached that ceiling before. Don't really like that pick there particularly. There's other guys, not Taurean Prince, Nick Batum, Bob Cove, Joshie Richardson, Tyreek, Jason Tatum, Mirotic, Markkanen, D'Angelo, Jingling Joe, all those guys. Jabari Parker even I'd have above Ingram at that spot. Lauri Markkanen off the board at pick number 65. Well, legit team at 66. Let's see how legit you are. You are ready to go. Also, pretty nonsensical that ESPN makes you have first and last name for a team. Just put one spot for... I know I'm shitting on ESPN, but what's the point of it? Just put a full name there. So these teams, they might have full names, but I can't actually read them because it only puts up their nickname at the top. Do they expect everyone to come in here? I'm the Melbourne Marauders. Marauders on the clock. I want to have something different as my team. Anyway, that's enough bullshit from me. D'Angelo Russell at 66. Dennis Smith at 67. Kyle McKeown is back on the board here at pick number 68. And then we're one away from everyone's favourite, pick number 69 with the Rockets. I think Kyle is going to take... I think he's going to take Jabari Parker. He did. Thank you, Kyle, for making me not look stupid. Jabari at pick 68 there for Kyle. Hashtag on brand. Pick 69.
Giggity.
The Rockets are ready to go. I was happy with getting that right. Landon Wilson, you're right, mate. LOL, Dwight Powell in the top 100. That is definitely an LOL. What do they got projected for Dwight Powell? Just to see why they put him in the top 100. They got him playing 26 minutes a night and shooting 36% from the field with 4 assists per game, 3 rebounds, and 0.4 blocks with 1.2 assists. Do they actually know who Dwight Powell is? Who's doing this? Who's writing these numbers in? Yeah. Anyway, oh my God, it just makes no sense. Dwight Howard's going to become an interesting guy here. Now, could I take on his piss-poor free throw shooting on my team to bump some of those other numbers? Potentially. I don't think I will, because I did start off with such a strong free throw percentage buffer. It's not the best. Currently I think I'm projected as third best in terms of free throw percentage. I'm not necessarily looking at Dwight, but it is something that I do have to consider, or that I believe that people have to consider. Now, maybe someone like Yusuf Nurkic, he could be someone to look at. Howard and Steven Adams are two of your biggest negatives there, but Nurkic is pretty poor in that area. But I think I've got enough of a buffer to take Nurkic on it and still be able to get value there with him. Let's see, who just went off the board? Why did all the picks disappear? Okay, so ESPN's not putting picks on that chat anymore, so that's all awesome. Love when shit like that happens. Andy Wiggins went there at pick 69. Nick Batum, that was the guy I wanted. Nick Batum there at pick number 70. I'm still 7 picks away. The taxman on the board. Which way is he going to go? We can see Jason Tatum still on the board. If I can get him hit 78, that's really, really strong value. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. Let's see. There's something paused here on the draft because the clock's disappeared. Shout out to you, ESPN. And the reason we are doing this on ESPN, just to mix things up. Did a couple of Yahoo mocks. I'm doing an ESPN one now. There's going to be a Fantrax one later in the day, or later in the week as well. It just says that I joined the draft. Didn't realize I left. But anyway, maybe my internet dropped out and I wasn't aware of that. So the last few picks: Joshua Richardson, Julius Randle, DeJounte Murray, and Jason Tatum have all gone there. So I am 3 picks away. Let's see who this next guy is with Team Can on the clock at 75. I need 2 forwards with my next 2 picks. That's the way that I need to be looking at this, because I need to fill out a starting 5 here, clearly. Kyle says this is a weird draft. Yes, it is. Bob Cove off the board at pick 75. That's some pretty good value for Robert Covington, I think there. I am 3 picks away. Ryson Vasquez on the board now as well. All ready to go here. Tatum at 74, Covington at 75. That's really good value for Tatum. I think he's going to get overdrafted in many spots, but 74 is very, very much not an overdraft. So that's a good spot for him. He's got the ability to actually exceed that spot, which is what you're looking at with those last couple of rounds in a draft. Who have we got now? Did I just lose connection? Probably. I'm sure that's what's happened, and I've lost my connection. Let's see. A couple of picks away. It's probably going to be my pick by the time it comes back on, and then I'm going to end up auto-drafting someone. No! I didn't sign into a draft from another location. What is this shit? Oh my god. The pencil, Harrison Barnes off the board at pick 77. Not egregiously bad by any stretch. Alright, so I'm looking at Tyreek, although he doesn't have forward eligibility. Ingles or Mirotic are the guys that I am looking for here. They're probably my 2 options that I want. You are on the clock. All right. Who just went? Jingle and Joe went, so that's going to leave me with Nick Mirotic. Again, really liking to stay on brand there. So Mark took Jingle and Joe. They were the 2 guys I was looking for. So Mark, obviously a smart man, taking Joe Ingles. Let's see how my team looks now with that addition of Mirotic and what areas I need to strengthen with this last starter pick for my team. I don't know if Mirotic is going to start. It appears that he is going to, and the Pelicans look like they might be using Solomon Hill at small forward as well. I do need some field goal percentage now on this team. My assists and steals are all pretty strong. I need to get someone with some decently high field goal percentage. I don't know who that's going to be in this position. Budrick Hield goes there at 59. Yeah, good pick. Not 59, 79. That's a good pick from Budrick. Do I look at a Paulie Millsap who's still around? Is he a guy that can help me enough in blocks, but his field goal percentage isn't quite there? Do I take Laz Nance? I think Nancy might be my option here. Is he a forward eligible player? Yes, they've got him as a forward. I like what Nance can do. If they give him 26 minutes a night, he's going to really smash value. So he is a guy that I'm looking at there. Do I look at the future MVP, Kyle Kuzma? Dario Saric, another option, but I do worry a bit about Dario outside the top 100 for the last 3 months of last season. Timmy Hardaway, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, who's a pretty strong roto guy as well, but I just worry about his complete inability to hit threes. Millsap and Steve Adams off the board there to round out round 4 and start round 5. So I'm 2 picks away. I don't think anyone's taking Larry Nance here, but I think that is the direction that I'm looking to go with this selection. I could look at Evan Fournier, but I really want that forward guy. Fart and Will Barton. Yeah, probably not. Let's go with Nance. Let's really try and mix this up. It is probably too early for Laz, but of course I'm like 40 picks away from my next spot. I'm not going to get him. I think he's a big upside guy. So let's go with Larry Nance and round out my starting 5. Again, that could really, very much not work out for me in this league, but I think it's a good balance for how my squad looks, and I hope it's going to work out. Did anyone have any comments on my Nance pick? Mark Roberts takes Porzingis. That's absolutely fine, and that's it's a fine pick at this stage in the draft as well. Trae Young off the board as well. I do worry that Porzingis is only going to play 20 games this season, so I have a concern there. Same with Borg, and unless I'm miss my draft pick, which I did in a slow draft, and end up with one of those guys, probably won't be drafting them in most cases, because people are going to go much higher than them. On them. You see guys hanging around here. Dwight Howard still around. Barton, Payton, Fox, Cauley Stein, Kuzma, Levine. Levine is definitely someone who's going to go in this round. I feel pretty confident about that. Whiteside. What is Jordan Clarkson doing at 78? Seriously. TJ Warren. They got TJ Warren predicted for 32 minutes a night. That seems high, considering the amount of guards they got. DJ Augustin at 32 minutes seems also pretty high in terms of playing time. Jordan Bell at 27 minutes seems pretty high. Zaki Levine off the board. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson off the board. That is pick 86 for Levine, 87 for Hollis-Jefferson after Trae Young went at 85. We've already had Doncic and Ayton off the board, and Young is the third rookie. And that is the order that I believe that those guys should be going in. Where are we up to? Team Trice on the board. Which direction is he? We've only got one auto drafter, which is Ravanis, which is pretty good out of a 20-team league. You'd want everyone to be there ideally, but not everyone can be, and they be hopefully... Sorry, lost my ability to speak. John Isaac goes at 88, Fart and Will Barton at 89, and as much as I don't like Barton necessarily as a fantasy option, at 89 is absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's really good value at that spot. Interesting who is going to go the Dwight Howard route. I'd be looking at one of these teams who's already got shit free throw percentage. A basketball analogy, the DPRK Rockets. Team Ravanis. Team Trice could go that direction. Team Pittsburgh. They've already got bad free throw percentage. So if you're going to get 3 points in the free throw percentage category, might as well get Dwight and get 1 point and go and grab those other numbers. Get your boards. Get your blocks up. That's definitely a way you want to look at. What's going on here? Are you okay requesting a rollback? Who would be requesting a rollback? For what reason? Don't know what's going on there. Someone must be making comments that I can't see. That is early. Domantas Sabonis at pick 90. Again, I just feel like is it right on his ceiling? Maybe I'm wrong. It just feels too early. Technology, I could be wrong, mate. This could end up working out real well for you. Hassan Whiteside at pick 91. And then we've got the Rockets at pick 92 on the board. Which direction are they going to go? We're almost halfway through. This is going to be a long podcast, guys. Maybe I'll have to throw out a code word for you. And what I did last time is whoever was the first 2 people to tweet me the code word, they were the people who got into the mock draft and doing a head-to-head mock draft later in the week. So I am going to... I'm going to have a code word later in this show, so stay tuned. I'm not telling you when, though. Timmy Hardaway off the board at pick 92. Love it. You are going to have an issue with field goal percentage with him, obviously, but the usage will be high. The scoring will be high. Interested to see how he works out. Yusuf Nurkic is someone that I'm looking at. If he can get back to my pick, he probably won't. De'Aaron Fox is someone I'll look at with my next pick as well. I got my starters filled out already. Šarić is off the board at 93. Absolutely love that pick at 93. While I'm not as high on Šarić as others at that spot, how can you argue with it? I do need another guard at some point on my team, so Patrick Beverley is someone I'll look at. Maybe it's Spencer Dinwiddie. I take a squiz out. Maybe I'll look at Georgie Hill, but De'Aaron Fox. They're the guys that I want to look at with probably my next pick. Jalen Brown could also be an option for me. Kyle, not happy with John Isaac. John Isaac is going to be really good. I've talked about him a lot. And when I talk about John Isaac, Yusuf Nurkic off the board there for Team Meanies. I'm talking about Isaac, so it makes me think Dynasty. Just to remind you, I am going to be starting a Dynasty-only podcast. It'll be one episode per week. I'm going to start bringing out some of that content in the next week or so. Do them as little short segments. You'll see that come out soon. But I'm going to do, during the season, a one show per week of Dynasty Vote. But I want to know what you guys want to hear on a Dynasty-only show. What content do you want on that show? So let me know. Tweet at me. You know my Twitter handle, at redrock_Beeble. What content do you want for a Dynasty-only podcast that's going to have probably one episode per week? Let me know what you want there. Legit team on at pick 95 after Yusuf Nurkic went at pick 94. I like that for Nurkic. You've got to be able to absorb his free throw percentage, and Team Meanies, they already had a shit free throw percentage, so that's totally fine to be grabbing him there. Their assists are high, their steals are high, their points are high, so Nurkic is going to help their rebounding numbers, get a few points back in the field goal percentage, get them some blocks. I think it's a pretty strong option to go and do that. Jez Lamb off at 95. I wish I have some sort of clarity with what the Hornets are going to do with their starting lineup or with their selections there, but we just don't know. Jordy Bell off the board. Now, I like Bell a lot. It seems early at 96. Again, are you drafting him just for upside? Will they start Damian Jones? They shouldn't, but who knows what Steve Kerr is going to do? What's Kevon Looney going to do? Where's Bell's value going to go when Boog returns? There's a number of things, and I love Bell, but it feels early. Lord Alfred Payton at 97, yeah, love that pick. That's really strong there from you, basketball analogy. I think he's got a chance to have a real bounce back. He's competing with Ian Clark and Jarrett Jack for point guard minutes. These aren't good players. Frankie Jackson, I don't even know what he is at this point. We've seen him for 12 minutes in 2 years. So I don't really know, but I think Payton's got an opportunity, and he was shithouse in Phoenix. He was okay in Orlando. He was not great, but he was okay. And at that spot, yeah, it's definitely worth that risk. We've got these guys with those shit rankings really hanging fire. Howard, Fox, Cauley Stein, Kuzma, Burke, Jackson, Clarkson, Warren. Really shit rankings for all those guys, and they're still around, unsurprisingly. Brookie Lopez goes at 98. Really think Brooks going to have a pretty big bounce back here this season after getting dicked around in LA. Yeah, like his ability here as well. I think I'm going to throw De'Aaron Fox into my queue. Mario Hezonja at pick 99. Love that for him as well. I really like Hezonja. He was strong last season. He was a top 70 guy in the last 3 months of the season with Aaron Gordon out. He's going to have a massive opportunity in New York, assuming Fizdale doesn't screw it up. You really like that for Hezonja. We're almost at pick number 100, which will take us to halfway through this draft. You are on the clock in 18 picks. It is a long time between drinks when you pick pick number 3 in a 20-team league. All right, make your pick. Rudy Gay. Like it. Pick 80 for Rudy Gay. No, 80. Sorry, pick 100 for Rudy Gay. Really can't. Can't complain too much about that, or by too much, I mean not at all. It's a strong option to get him there. Now, Bembry is back on the pick to start us off in round 6. Now we're in the bench zone. DeMarcus Cousins should be an option for one of these teams. Someone should be taking him in this draft at this spot. We'll see if they actually do. But you know what? Because it's Roto, you're not getting that benefit of them coming back for your playoffs. So I'm not sure that that's going to be enough for 30 games or 40 games or whatever it is of value. I'll steer clear personally. Who is making this pick? I need to work on my assists. I need to work on my threes and my scoring. That's the categories I'm going to be looking at here. So if I'm looking at this, Evan Fournier is an option for me. De'Aaron Fox is an option for... De'Aaron Fox just went at 101. Bastardo. Fournier is a guy that I want to throw onto my queue. I don't know if I'll get him, but I think he is going to be a strong option. Jaren Jackson Jr., Triple J, Patrick Beverley, Jez Lynn, Daz Collison, Bogdan Bogdanovic, although the knee injury is a bit of a worry. Trev Ariza, the blue swimmer, Alan Crabb. The Rooster off the board there at 102, Danilo Gallinari. That's, again, that's fine. We're talking about bench guys here. We know his upside is top 60, so that could really work out if he is healthy. So a strong option there with him as well. Jeremy Grant at pick 100. That seems high as well for Jezza. I know I'm harping on these rankings a lot, but they are nonsense. Shirtless JR on the board at pick 103 on the clock. Let's roll through these guys. We don't want to be here all day. I've got to find this code word. What could the next code word be? I'm gonna. Ooh, because I'm reading this sheet I've got from this beer subscription box that I get sent to me, and it's got descriptions of these beers. So I'm gonna pick a word off this sheet to be the code word. Evan Fournier off the board. Shirtless JR, you suck. Oh no! TJ Warren, Tony Warren Jr., the basketball analogy. Yeah, I'm legit worried. Bridges, Ariza, Jackson. Is Warren the fourth one of those guys? Maybe he's ahead of Bridges, probably is, but he doesn't pass, he doesn't shoot threes. How's Igor Kokoshkov going to like that? My guess is that he won't. And I think that's a real worry for TJ. Now, maybe he gets moved in a deal to get a point guard. That's a real possibility. He's efficient, he scores well, but I just don't know exactly how this is all going to work out for TJ Warren. I think it's a risky pick. Trey Burke is ranked really highly here, but this is a fine spot to go and have a look at a potential starting point guard. The future MVP, Kyle Kuzma, off at 105, ranked too highly, but absolutely fine at that spot as well. We're getting into the dregs here. I think the Fort, Kevin Knox, should be an option. Jalen Brown is an option here as well. I've already mentioned Jez Lynn, Markel Fultz. I'll throw him in my queue just for shits and gigs. Greg Monroe ranked 122, seems aggressively high. Willie Cauley-Stein at 106. Yep, that's a worthwhile selection there as well. Who's going to take Boog? Is anyone going to take Boog? It's not going to be me at this point. All right. Someone's got to take Dwight. One of you teams who have got piss poor free throws have got to take Dwight. You're losing a lot of value here, and you're risking someone else with bad free throws. Pittsburgh, Ravanis, basketball analogy, the Rockets. One of you guys has got to go and take him, I think. Isaiah Thomas off the board to team meanies. We've got Kyle on the board next at 108, Isaiah at 107. Thomas isn't even healthy at this point, still recovering from hip surgery. It could be another real shit year for him. And you do worry that his relevancy is cooked. It's a real worry. But he could come in and also screw things up with Malone and the offense, or with Malone screwing up the offense in concert with Isaiah Thomas. That's a risk as well. So there are numerous ways that this can go, I believe. There is Kyle taking Boog at pick 108. Kyle using that similar thought of me as when you get to your bench as a real opportunity for upside there. If it was head-to-head, I'd be more into it than Roto personally, just for that playoff contribution, but not so into him necessarily in a Roto format. The Rockets, you need to take Dwight Howard here. I know you can't hear me because I'm not broadcasting this live, but you need to take Dwight Howard. He fits on your team perfectly here. You need to take him. It's simple as that. Who is on the DPRK Rockets? You've got Lowry, Doncic, Wiggins, Hardaway, and Capella. You've already got Capella. You got to take Dwight here. Go for it, mate. Don't let me down. He will let me down. I'm not taking Dwight. My free throw percentage is okay, but it's not strong enough to withhold that, I don't think. I need those assists. I need some threes on my team. They're the categories that I am really looking to get with my next pick. Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. off the board. So that to me, it's you really should be taking Dwight in that spot when you are that team. Ravanis, they're on auto. They're probably going to get Dwight, and that's fine because that fits what their team does. He's not a strong team because he is auto, but he's not terrible. I think that works pretty well. It helps to boost their block numbers, and probably it does elevate them in the standings as well. All right, where are we up to next? Guys who I've got top of the board available: Beverley, Lynn, Collison, Dedman, health is an issue. Bogdanovich, health is an issue. Ariza, the blue swimmer, the table, JJ Redick, Kelly Olynyk, Karis LeVert, Wendell Carter. There's a few guys here who have still got some value. Kyle saying I've got 2 IR spots in this league, so you don't have to drop your top players if they get hurt. It's also a Roto league, so you can sit their asses on the bench as well. Daz Collison off the board at 110. I worry about Collison this year, but 110 is pretty good value, I believe. The Taxman on the board at pick number 111. Let's make a guess. I think he's going to take James Johnson. I'm just making guesses of what people are going to do. He took JJ Redick. I was wrong. There you go. Dwight Howard off the board to team Ravanis. That makes sense to grab him there at that spot. Not that he had a choice because he was on auto, but that's the right selection for that team. I'm coming up with five picks away. Colin Sexton, young bull, off for Team Trice. Again, worth an upside look. I do worry about his inability to help you in field goal percentage, assists, steals, rebounds, and threes. That's obviously a bunch of categories, but maybe he scores enough. Markel Fultz off the board to Joyo Newell. I don't know what I'm going to do with this next pick. I've got a few options there. The guy I do want to be looking at is probably Pat Beverley, who is got a risk, I guess. Trevor Ariza could be an option, but I think Beverley is the guy that I do want to look at. I've got Lynn in my queue as well. Let's go and add Pat Bev to that list. Chuck him in the queue. He's ranked 155th. He was like a top 70 guy last season before his injury. Reggie Jackson off the board to Team Can. I'm 3 picks away. Got Rice and Vasquez on the board now. Let's go and do some draft tracker work. So Kyle's made this interesting. He's put 500 games limit total, which is 100 per active slot. So you do have to rotate this bench in a little bit. So that does make it interesting. The bench isn't entirely just sitting there not being active. So that's interesting that we've got. I did know that, but I forgot that was the limit that Kyle had on that. So 500 games limit total for this 100 per slot. So you do have to use that bench a little bit, but which is fine. Which is how I was going to be approaching it, looking at probably 7 guys with 3 upside flyer type of picks. The way that I'm looking at it here is I'm looking at Jeremy Lin as that selection, Patrick Beverley as that select. They're my 2 top options here. And let's just see, I've got them in my queue. Trey Burke off the board to Rice and Vasquez. Marky Roberts. I think Roberts is going to take Lin here, would be my guess. And I'm going to take Beverley, or he'll take Wendell Carter, who is a solid option there. But I want those guard numbers. So I'm down to Lin or Beverley. Risk with both of those guys, clearly. Ooh, the blue swimmer goes to Mark. Now, do I take Linny or do I take Pat? Let's go with Pat. All right, Pat Beverley onto my team to help me with some threes. He hits threes well, help me with some assists. I'm okay with getting him as my next guy. Wendell Carter off the board next at pick number 119, and then we're almost done with round 6, and I'll be back on the clock. And then I have a look at how my team all looks out. So who else just went there? Dennis Schroeder off the board at the end of round 6. No Robertson, no Westbrook to start the season, so there's going to be value there in both spots. Now, do I take a flyer on someone like DJ Augustine? Do I go back again to Jeremy Lin in this spot, or is that my guard depth? Yeah, it's looking okay. Do I need a big man here? I probably do need a big man here, so I could look at someone like the table Montrezl Harrell, but his free throw percentage is a real concern. Do I look at Kelly Olynyk as my big man player, who is quite solid right across the board? I think he's an option, especially if Hassan Whiteside gets moved. His value jumps up. Is it Jalen Brown that I look at? Or maybe Jalen's the guy that I look at here. Let's throw him in the queue. Let's throw Kelly Olynyk in the queue as well. I'm not going to be able to get both of those guys. I think Jalen might be the guy I look at. Lin is an option. I'm not feeling super confident about Linny there. Bogdan Bogdanovic off the board at 121. That's fine. Even with that injury, you're talking about a bench spot here. The Jedi, OG Anunoby.
Hello there.
From Rip City Revival. So it's me. It is me on the board. I am going to go with Jalen. There it is, Jalen Brown. I'm not a big Jalen Brown guy, but at 123, I'm okay with it. What's the chances he's worse than that? They're there. I don't think they're that high though. So I'm pretty good with getting Jalen at that spot. I still do need a big man, so I really need to get some big man numbers coming with my next couple of picks to really solidify that. Then just go with a couple of real high upside guys. The Fort Kevin Knox is someone that is going to be taken this round. Jim Johnson off there to Mark Roberts. Hey, in these drafts, I've got to fill the space. Might as well play the song. Yes, Jim Johnson. Again, the Miami Heat situation is so weird, especially with these Butler rumors and the way that their team is structured, and with so much that can change. It is a real weird one with the way that Heat team looks. Johnson doesn't need 30 minutes to be a fantasy relevant player. He won't get 30 minutes. We're aware of that. Ryan Anderson at pick 120. I'm not big on Ryan Anderson, but I think it's fine there. The Undertaker, Dwayne Dedman. Someone's got to be looking at DJ Augustin here as well. I'm not big on DJ because I don't think he's going to hold that starting job all year. Caris LeVert off the board at 127. Love LeVert. Hopefully they can give him minutes, but I'm not fully confident on that. Still need some assist numbers here for my team. Jez Lynn's still floating around. Georgie Hill is an option for me there as well. Freddie Van Vliet will be someone I look at later on. Chetty Osman is also worth an option. Jordy Clarkson off to Ravana, so that's a bad pick. That was the auto pick. Tyus Jones, Team Trice, really hoping that he gets traded. That's the move they're looking for. I love Tyus. I'm losing hope that he gets traded, but I hope that he does and gets onto a starting team because he's top 80 type of player in that scenario. Technology goes and grabs Jez Lynn. That's a strong option as well. But, that option there from Tyus Jones from Team Trice is important. We're talking about your bench guys here, and we do have some rotation, but just getting this guy, and if it blows up, then it works out really well for him, and I think that's a strong way of approaching it. So that's how I've got two bench guys now. I do want a big man, but I want to go grab an upside big man. I don't know who that's going to be. Do I grab a Harry Giles maybe? Do I grab Pascal Siakam, who I'm drafting in tons of drafts, so I think could actually outplay someone like Serge Ibaka this year? Chetty Osman is in play for me as well. I'm going to throw him into my queue because I'm sure he's ranked about a millionth on here. 261st. He'll go into my queue. A couple of guys off the board. The table, Montrezl Harrell there at 131. Malcolm Brogdon at 132. Ariza at 133. And Serge Ibaka at 134. Some solid picks there. Who else are some upside guys that I'm looking at here? Malik Monk, Mitchell Robinson, Luke Kennard. They're all some solid upside guys. Do I look at Marvin Bagley? I probably would, to be honest. Jakob Poeltl is another guy that I'll be considering. Let's add him to the queue. Let's throw Bagley in. Again, if it works out, I'm pretty happy with it. Let's throw Baggles into that queue. There, Siakam, I'll put him into the queue as well. I'm just going for a lot of upside flyer type of players at this spot. Kyle saying that Trevor Ariza just won me the league. Calm down, Kyle. Come on, mate.
I love you guys, except for you, Kat.
I have got a few picks left in this league.
2 + 2 is 4. -1, that's 3 quick maths.
Yep, 3 picks left. DJ Augustin off the board. Marvin Bagley just went to Team Pittsburgh. I was looking at getting bags there. Augustin off at 135. Bagley off at 136. Surprisingly that Kevin Knox is still available here. Joshy Jackson off at 137. Someone has to take Knoxy here, surely. Jaron Grant's another guy I'm going to throw onto my list now that DJ's gone. Just, again, that's real upside play there. Does it work out? Who knows? But there's an opportunity there for him to be a starting point guard. The other guy I'm going to look at is Big Shaq Harrison.
Big Shaq.
Yep. Throw him onto the queue. I don't know who the starting point guard is in Phoenix at this point. Spencer Dinwiddie, D'Angelo Russell injury, a trade. These are all names that could start to work out. They've got a few guys here in my list. I'm looking at upside guys. Olynyk is probably the number one guy I want here because I do think he's got significant upside plus contribution ability, even if a big opportunity for him doesn't open up. And then I've got a bunch more guys in my queue: Knox and Kennard and Osman, Poeltl, Siakam, Grant, Shaq Harrison, Spencer Dinwiddie. I should be able to get at least a couple of those guys. The Deuce Young off the board to pick number 138 there. Kent Bazemore 139 and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope at 140, and that will wrap up round 7 for this league. We've got 3 rounds to go. I'm okay with my team. I do need to get still some assists, still some points numbers up. I'm not super strong in those areas, or not as strong as I would like to be anyway. And there goes Derek Favors, there goes Kelly Olynyk. Still got some options here for myself. Dinwiddie, Shaq Harrison, Jaron Grant, Poeltl, Osman, Kevin Knox. Surely Knox isn't going to last to 158. That's a perfect upside fly play. I have my doubts with him, no doubt. You've heard me mention that plenty of times, but at this spot, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't someone be taking a flyer on him? But I do like the Favors and Olynyk picks. They're pretty strong contributors for both of those teams that just took them. What else have we got here? Shirtless JR taking his time. Zach Randolph in the queue there. That's an interesting one. I was thinking back to discussions I had with people on Twitter over the last couple of years. I remember having a discussion at the start of last season. Someone argued with me that Carmelo Anthony was a top 10 player in the league. That was an interesting one. Someone also argued with me the year before that Carmelo Anthony was a better player than Paul George. Cool. Chetty Osman off the board there. Yeah, Kyle, I agree. Although I don't... Dang is such an American word. We just don't say dang here. It's just... Yeah, we barely say damn. Dang. No, we don't say that. It's so American. I'm in the middle of planning an American holiday at the moment, actually, heading over next year for Summer League, looking to take in a few cities. I've got a decent short list of cities I'm looking at. Portland, Seattle, Atlanta, New Orleans. Going to go to Montreal maybe, New York. A whole bunch of cities. But anyone's got any suggestions, throw them at me. I'm looking for places to go to fit in around Summer League. But there's a bunch of cities that I am looking at going to. The Fort, Kevin Knox off the board. Yeah, you had to go with that there. Dwight Powell, Jeremy Grant sitting at the top of the queue for pretty good reason. No need to be getting those guys on. Let's have a quick check in on Woj to see if anything has actually gone down here. Nope, nothing that I can see just yet. No, all right. Everything's all good with Jim Butler at this point. No one has moved on. Kelly Oubre Jr. Off the board at 145. I'm still 12 picks away. Yuck. It's a long one. Frankie Ntilikina, he's an interesting option. Punch Bob Shipbloke. Yeah, I worry about what he can do. There's some interesting rankings here, no doubt. Why is Eric Gordon ranked so low at 149? Now, I'm not big on Eric Gordon, but that's too low. Who's going to go the DeAnthony Melton, Elie Okobo trio? I think that when someone takes Big Shaq Harrison, like me, that might set the clock off on those other guys. We do have an open position there. Who knows exactly how that's going to work out with that point guard spot. Legit team on the clock. Come on, legit. Let's let go. Come on, mate. Let's fire it up. Damari Carroll. I'm going to throw Spencer in my top of my queue just in case I lose some connection here with the old ESPN. Eric Gordon, smart from Team Meanies there. He was ranked too low, as I mentioned. Kyle McKeown. Kyle is going to take Stanley Johnson. Come on, Kyle. Don't let me down. Or is it one round too early for Stanley? No, he's going to take Stanley. Or he's going to take Reggie Bullock. It's going to be a Pistons guy. Is it Bullock or Stanley? Come on, Kyle. Let's go. Don't let me down. Come on, Kyle. Or is he going to take JaVale? Oh, the possibilities are endless. Oh, Rocket Rodney Hood. Okay, fair enough. Yep, no, I can see that. You let me down. You didn't let me down before, but you let me down this time. Rocket Rodney Hood off the board to Mr. McEwen. The DPRK Rockets on the board there at pick 149. It's a tough draft with it being as deep as it is with 20 teams. It is hard to get the sort of numbers that you need to be competitive at the moment. You know, my projections have got Rip City Revival sitting right up the top with that sort of value. But that'll change as things go on. Georgie Hill coming in there at pick, where are we at? Pick 149. Can't really argue with that. Really, really strong to get him there. I think he's going to start off the season and play pretty well. He's got top 50 potential for a couple of months, I think. Maybe that's the most, but I think he's still got really good value there. Team Argue on the board. We're still 8 picks away from mine one. It's a bloody long time in between picks. What else happened? The Chief, Al-Farouq Aminu.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
150. I don't really care if he's shit sometimes. I think that's fine on the bench. He's an unquestioned starter who can rebound, who can get steals, who can block shots, who's going to kill your field goal percentage, clearly. But, has value there, definitely. We are still ticking down here. Who's going to take Dwight Powell? Is that going to be Ravanis on order? Yeah, his team is going to look ugly. It's going to be bad. Westbrook, Beal, Randall, Barton, Jordan, Howard, Clarkson. Actually, it's not that bad. It could be worse. But once you get Dwight Powell in there, oh yeah, there it is. Freddie Van Vliet off to Technology and Dwight Powell off to Ravanis. It's ugly getting Dwight. That's a terrible auto pick. What is he doing ranked that high? That is terrible. And I like Dwight Powell. That's just not it. Doing so many mock drafts, man. I'm running out of things to say in these long shows. I apologize for the dead air in these shows. Who is off? Here we go. Josh the Hitman Hart. He goes at pick 153. I like the Hitman. I worry about the minutes. Mello off the board at 154. Cannot really debate that at all. That's a really strong pick for Mello at 154. He could very easily get back into the top 100. He could very easily not, but he could very easily get back into that top 100. All right, getting closer now to my pick, so that's always important or good. Where are we? We've got a few picks left there. 3 picks until it's me. So which direction are we going? Do I still need assists? I still need points. So I think we're going to take Big Spence. Yeah, Big Spence is the guy that I want with 4 picks left until it's me. Team Can, Ryson Vasquez, and Marky Roberts. Oh, Team Can, what are you doing? He took Spencer, so I have to reassess what I'm looking at here. I need assists. Can I take on Marcus Smart's bullshit field goal percentage? I'm not sure I can. Do I look at Malik Monk? Do I look at Luke Kennard to get my assist numbers up? They are concerns. Do I look at Frankie Ntilikina as an upside play? Maybe. Maybe Ntilikina's the guy to look at here. Or is it Big Shaq? Or do I leave Big Shaq for round 9? I think I might leave Big Shaq for round 9. Or do I take Pirtle there and leave Big Shaq for round 10? I think Frank is the guy that I want here. Starting point guard upside. Showed flashes of being an assist and steals guys last year. The offensive stuff is clearly a concern. But Jaren Grant, oh man, I don't know. This is tough. I get Siakam. I like Siakam. Alex Len off the board there. 2 picks to go. Which way is Mark Roberts going to go? I think Roberts is going to go with Pirtle. Just a guess. Rajon Rondo. Okay. You know what? Screw it. Let's go Frank. Bang. Ntilikina on my team. Yeah, not loving it personally, but it's a nice boost to my assist numbers, and it's an upside type of play, which is pretty much what we're looking for at this stage. Quite obviously. Still needs work on many parts of his game, but I'm okay with grabbing him there. Mo Harkless off the board at 159, Markieff Morris off at 160, and then we're 3 picks away from me. So do I go big here? I think I do go big in this spot most likely. Try and get someone like a Pascal Siakam, or do I get Malik Monk's another guy? I think it's Siakam to me. Or is it Pirtle? I worry about Pirtle's free throw shooting. That is a concern. Yeah, Siakam's not too much better. I think I'm going to take Pascal, though, when it gets back to me. Another upside type of play, who we don't know how Nurse is going to treat him at this point. Could be interesting. Mo Bamba off the board.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think Bamba might be a disappointment this season. I do worry about just I think he could be just really raw for the league, and that's a concern, I believe. All right, 1 pick away. I'm looking at Siakam. I'm looking at Pirtle. They're my 2 picks, and then hopefully I can get Big Shaq or Jaren Grant with that last selection, which might be a struggle, but that's the direction I'm looking at here. So I want Luke Kennard, a good pick from Rip City Revival. Let's take Pascal and get him onto my team. Give me a bit of a boost in field goal percentage. Help my block numbers out. Yeah, help my team's energy. Not that means anything, but that's what he is good at, and that's going to get him minutes on the Raptors team. So I'm okay with getting Pascal there. There's a bit of upside in that situation. So my bench consists of Pat Beverley, Jalen Brown, Frank Ntilikina, and Pascal Siakam. Young guys, apart from Beverley, who's, I guess, considering him a starter with the way this team's built. And then looking for another upside pick. So Malik Monk would be someone that I'd be looking at in my next pick, if that's even possible. The last 2 picks after me getting Siakam was Taj and Jakob Poeltl, so I do like that Jakob Poeltl pick there, pretty obviously. Let's throw Malik Monk into my queue. Team Can on the board. Dan Green off the board at 166. Someone else just realised they projected Tyler Ulis to get 114 blocks this season. Yeah, Who's doing this? Seriously. Who is putting these numbers up? Does Greg Monroe get minutes over Pascal Siakam? I would say absolutely no. Bill Hernan-Gomez off the board. That's a strong. He's a really, really good roto player. He's hitting threes now, high efficiency, big rebounder, blocks some shots. That's a good option there. Really, Cody Zeller's the superior player, but who knows exactly how James Borrego is going to run that spot. Team Trice on the board. What are you going to do with this selection? Really anything goes at this point. Tristan Thompson, why is he ranked 159th? That seems ridiculous. Bam Adebayo, 163. He would be someone interesting to grab if that Whiteside move does go down. Really, really like what Bam can do. He's got really high upside. Terry Rozier, he's not going to contribute in most cases, but an injury goes down, you've got yourself value, and that is perfect for that spot. Ravanas grabbing Jeremy Grant with the auto pick at 169. I can't really debate that. He was ranked 100th, which is stupid, but getting him at that spot is pretty strong. Now Zebo is your next auto draft guy at 108. You do not want to be in that situation to get Zachary Randolph in that pick. The three guys I've got left are auto ranked at 200 for Jaren Grant, 204 for Big Shaq Harrison, and 184 for Malik Monk. I think people will take at least two of those guys. Harry Giles off the board there at 170 is a pretty good pick as well. We know that they're talking up Harry Giles quite a lot in Sacramento. There's still a lot of mouths to feed there, and hopefully one of those mouths is not Zach Randolph. Who else are we looking at here on this list? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Marcus Smart, Avery Bradley. Avery Bradley's still around. Jay Crowder. They're two guys that I think you should be paying some attention to. Why is Chandler Hutchison ranked inside the top 200? Gorgie Jeng, give him minutes. We know he's a contributor. He is an upside trade play as well. We know that they're looking at moving him. The Minnesota Timberwolves are, so he'd be someone that you could throw in there. And maybe I'll throw him on the back end of my bench and see how that all plays out. What else have we got going here? Who is the next pick off the board? The Rockets on the board. Come on, Rockets, let's get something happening. Marcus Smart off the board to Team Argue. I really like that pick from Smart. He's going to be really strong, really solid, and going to have his weaknesses, of course. We're aware of those weaknesses and what they are exactly. If you guys are still around, it's time for me to throw out the code word and the first two replies back, whether that's on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, or on YouTube, whichever the first two that come in. Actually, let's go this way, sorry. The first person to reply on Twitter gets a spot. The first person to reply on Facebook gets a spot. The first person to reply on Instagram gets a spot. And the first person to reply on YouTube gets a spot. And the code word I'm going to throw in is, let's have a look. Going from this sheet I've got in front of me, we are going to use vegetal. The code word for today's show is vegetal. First people from each of those social media areas will get a spot in the head-to-head mock draft at the end of the week, and I'll give you details to that. The picks that have gone off the board while I was trying to find the word vegetal were Jaren Grant at 172. Love it. Wes Matthews at 173. Kyle got him. He's solid. We know he's going to contribute. Punch Bob Shipbloke at 174. And then Avery Bradley at 175. So, there are a couple of guys that I did mention there with Punch Bob and Avery Bradley as well. 176 is now on the board. So some pretty good value picks still available here. Again, I've got Shaq Harrison and Malik Monk as some options for myself when it finally gets back to my pick at 198 is my pick. 22 picks away. Let's have a look. I'm going to do some draft tracker updates, have a look at who best available is over there and just give you an idea of who I've got as the best available. But again, we're looking for, best available and upside are two different things at this point in a draft. So let's have a look at how this all plays out in terms of your best upside play. Well, it's still updating because my internet shit itself, so that's awesome. Pittsburgh on the clock at 176. Who did he pick? Zach Randolph. Oh, that's real unlucky. That's real unlucky there. Marcin Gortat off the board to Basketball Analogy. I just don't see anything there for Gortat. That's not an upside play. The best availables I've got at the moment, I've got Cody Zeller, Bojan Bogdanovic, Mitchell Robinson, Malik Monk, Delon Wright, Dirk, JaVale, Marv Williams, Terry Ross, Reggie Bullock, and Big Shaq Harrison.
Big Shaq.
All right. I'm pretty interested with Harry Giles. There's a lot of hype coming out. I do worry that he's getting overhyped, but he's going to be interesting to see play. Preseason basketball, man, we're like a week away, I think. Does that sound right? Yeah, I think it starts this weekend. So we are really getting into things, and then I'm going to have some interesting podcasts next week as well, talking to some people. We're going to have a decently big-name guest on next week as well, talking about preseason NBA action. So I don't know. Maybe you don't think he's big name. I think he's pretty big name, but we'll see when he gets on and we talk about that next week. Who's next? Shirtless JR to round us out here. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Love it. Love Shai. Love the upside. Worried that he's not even going to touch the floor for the first 2 months of the season. Oh, there goes my man Malik Monk. Eesh. Not happy with that. All right. Who else just went off the board? Delon Wright went at the end of round 9, so that's pretty strong. I love Delon. You know. I think what he can do. I think he's pretty strong option. All right, so back to the draft. Dante Exum. Jay Crowder, love that pick. Dante Exum is an interesting one there from James Harris. Exum, he's never been a great fantasy producer, even in the minutes that he's got, but I'm not really sure. It is absolutely at this spot. Hey, take a flyer on him. His defense is going to get him on the court, and if he can develop some offensive things, which we've seen flashes of, it is intriguing, no doubt, for Big Dante. A couple of autos here. Pittsburgh and Meanies, they've pissed themselves off, so they're there. What else are we looking at? Shirtless JR. Come on, Big Shaq. That's who I want. Dion Waiters. I worry that Dion Waiters is Cameron Payne. Jesus, I was not expecting that. I'm here for it. Chris Dunn gets injured. Cam Payne's going to put up top 100 numbers. That is what you want to look at. And again, draft strategy changes depending on the league that you're in. That is really strong. Elliot Kobo off. The point guard run for Phoenix has started. Where's D'Anthony Melton going to go? Where's my boy Shaq Harrison going to go? I want one of them. So I'm putting Melton in my queue. Someone's going to have an opportunity to put up numbers on this team. Now, it could be anyone. It could be someone else get traded. Maybe it's Pat Beverley in that spot. Yeah, there it is, Kyle. All right, Greggy Munro went off at 185. Mitchell Robinson, 186. Marquise Chris, 187. Then Kyle at 188. He went for Stanley Johnson. We knew it was going to happen. Bojan Bogdanovic is looking at really strong value here in this area as well. Harrison and Melton are my two options. Justice Winslow is another interesting upside-ish type of a guy. Gorgie Jeng, again, that's real trade value there for Gorgie Jeng. I'm gonna throw him in my queue just for the sake of it. Probably not going to pick him, but if he does get moved and finds himself at 25 minutes a night, well, he's easily better than 190th. Rockets on the board here. Come on, Rockets, let go. Skal Labissiere. I think Skal's not even going to play this year. That's a real worry. Corley Stein, Bagley, Giles, Kufos, Randolph. Like, where's he fitting in? Bielitsa, who's a power forward. I worry about how he's going to fit in there. All right, let's take a look at these. I'm still 8 picks away. Getting there. Shaq Harrison, his on-off numbers, his plus-minus stuff was insane last year. He was one of the best I think he was the best plus-minus guy on that team. Whenever he was on the court, they played well. Reggie Bullock, that's strong. At 190, I love that for Reggie Bullock. He's a great roto guy as well with his percentages. He does jack shit in a lot of other areas, but that percentages are really nice. JaVale's still available. Surprised Kyle didn't go that direction, but maybe that's just not working for him in a roto capacity. Seth Curry, JJ Barea off the board. Seth Curry is an interesting one. What minutes does he get? Is he the third guard or the fourth guard behind Wade Baldwin? You've got Lillard and McCollum, and then it's Baldwin and Curry. And if all four of them play, that does hurt Curry's value there a little bit. Team Trice on the board. Tyler Johnson still available. He would have been snapped up in years past pretty comfortably by now. Same with Bojan. Same with John Simmons, who I do believe is going to drop off quite a bit this season. Mick Beasley still around. Bam is a great someone should be taking Bam here. He's a great upside player in this spot. What else are we looking at? Ish Smith, if Reggie Jackson's not ready to go, Ish is someone you look at. Surprised no one's gone with Nerlens Noel as well. That people seem to love Nerlens. All right, remember, let's, Who was off there? Zaki Collins. Interesting upside play. If Yusuf Nurkic has any sort of wobbles, Collins is the man. JaVale off the board to Joyo Noel. Why can't I say that? Sorry. I apologize to all my French-speaking people. All right, 3 picks away from me. Shaq or Melton, which one of them is it going to be? I think Melton's going to be the better player, but as for this season, I think Harrison's going to be the better option. If this was Dynasty, I'd take Melton pretty significantly higher than this. But Boyan off the board to Team Can. I'm 3 picks away. I've got 3 guys in my queue. These are my 3 options. Let's have a look. Come on, Rice and Vasquez. Take Tyler Johnson. I'm going to throw Bam in my queue as well. Screw it. I'm going to even though there's only 3 picks left, but Bam's going in there just so I feel good about putting him in my queue. Let's wrap this up. Come on, Mikey. It's the last pick. You've had a lot of time to prepare for this pick. I'm telling you now. Come on, Mikey. Let's go. Let's make the pick. Stop agonizing. And then you're going to end up with Tristan Thompson. 2, 1, bang. You're out. Andre Iguodala. What? That is as low upside as you can get. That's interesting. Apologize, Mikey, if you're listening. That is a weird pick with your last pick. Mark Roberts on the board here. I think Mark left the draft. I saw that. He's left the draft at least 60 times so far during this thing, so I don't know if he's still around to make his pick. I'm going to be down to either Shaq or Melton here, and I'll take whoever doesn't get picked. Who did Mark take? He took McCall Bridges. I am going to take Big Shaq. There we go. That is the end of my draft. Kyle asked me who's my last pick, and it is Big Shaq Harrison. Bam Adebayo, love that from you, Rip City Revival. You've been doing really, really well, whoever you are. I think it's Ryan. Really, really good stuff from you. Yeah, it is Ryan. You've made some strong picks. All right, and that is the end of the draft. Kevon Looney goes last to Adrian. So let's go and import this over onto the draft. Actually, let's do this. All right, that is the end of that draft. So let's go back to the main screen. I just want to have a quick look at how it all sort of plays out in terms of the projected standings. We're looking again at a Roto league. I want to see how this all how it all plays out. I've got to go and import my players over on Basketball Monster as well. So let's go and do that, assuming it allows me to. Yep, Josh Lloyd, that's my team. And I'm going to check it out and just run through the projected standings based on my current projections, and I'll do it based on Kyle's projections as well. So I'm going to do auto, active, inactive. Now for the bench guys, we're going to be looking at, you're probably going to have 2 of them play games. So you're probably looking at 35%, I'd say, of the bench guys of bench games counting. That was how I'm gonna look at it. So we'll do it that way. And basing it on that my team comes in projected 3rd. Now I've only got abbreviations for these teams. I don't know what the abbreviations actually are, but let's have a look. We've got PDX at number. Actually, I can probably look this up. Let's go and have a look at what these teams, how they're projected before we wrap this show up. All right, so it still doesn't tell me what their team names are. That's not ideal. Let's go and have a look. Who are the teams so I can give you team names and feel more comfortable with it. Standings. All right, here we go. Who is PD? Oh, Team PDX would be Portland. That's that Rip City Revival. That's them. Ballo comes in 2nd, equal with me. Bembry 4th. JN At 5th, who is JN? I'm going to guess JN is Joyo Noel. Cool. Argue in next at 6. Rivanis at 7. That's the auto draft team. Can at 8. Henny. I see the shirtless JR. Then Tax. Yep, Taxman. TRC. Who is TRC coming in next? Don't know who TRC is. Maybe it's Trice. Pittsburgh next. Rice and Vasquez next. Meanies next. Land. Who's Land? Don't know who that is. Sorry. Apologies for that. Harris next. Mark Roberts. Then Kim, which is the Rockets. ABA, which is a basketball analogy. And Kyle McKeown projected last using my projections. If I look at Kyle's, where does he jump up? Well, I go down, way down into about 10th in that spot, and Kyle jumps up, to just equal with me there, with Rip City Revival still finishing on top. I've spoken enough. You know the code word. It is Vegetal. First on Twitter, first on YouTube, first on Facebook, first on Instagram, and you get a spot in the mock draft, which will be coming later this week, guys. Subscribe to this podcast, Google Podcasts, Apple Play. Other way around, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, thumbs up, 5-star review. You know the drill. Check out Vivid Seats, our sponsor, and use that promo code LOCKEDON, and check out the rest of the Locked On Podcast Network. NFL, baseball, college sports, it's all happening over there. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya. Damian Lillard.